Our guests that are here today, there's a copy of the agenda on the table up front. If you don't have a copy and would like one, they're available. I would encourage you to read the section at the bottom that kind of highlights what our objective is and what we're about and why we're here. Having said that, the first item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Next on the agenda is new business. The first item up today for review is Diamond Hill Baptist Church at 805 15th Street. Do we have a representative here?
Yeah, just in time, let me call in.
Shy.
Yeah.
We don't bite, come on in. If you would, please state your name and address and a little bit about what you'd like to do.
All right, my name is Harry Grant. I'm with Diamond Hill Baptist Church, and we're getting, the LNCAG is coming in at 805 15th Street, and what it is, we have to put fences and everything around. All the first part has already been cleared through y'all. What we doing now, we had submitted a form earlier that we was gonna put aluminum fences around the pit area. So we came back and, it changed that from the approval from the director of LNCAG that said the lattice would be sufficient to go around that area. So we came back to you all to see if that would be all right with y'all, since it's already on site around the back part of the area. So right now, the aluminum is going right there in the front area, and all the lattice is going on the back area where it's already existing lattice up on the porch part.
So you'd still be putting the aluminum fence on the front
Right.
at those pits?
And the aluminum on the front, aluminum in the front of the yard,
Right.
aluminum around the fence, the pits in the front. But on the back side, we want to go with lattice instead of putting aluminum.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's to keep kids from falling in?
Correct?
Yeah, I think it would be appropriate from that. I encourage you to be careful on that. That lattice is not super sturdy. I mean, a
We gonna, the
30-pound kid at full tilt run is gonna, unless you've got posts pretty close together, gonna go
Right.
through that puppy.
right. We're gonna have, it's gonna be sturdy. The person installing is gonna have posts and, concrete posts and everything, so many feet apart. So it's gonna be enforced.
Do we have a motion?
I mean,
Further discussion?
I'm good with this. I'd move to approve as submitted.
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, looks like the motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, good luck. Next on the agenda is Burrell Construction. They would like to install a driveway at 1101 Harrison Street.
Hello, everybody.
Afternoon. If you would, please state your name, address, and tell us about your project.
Mark Burrell, and my residence is 50 13th Street,
Okay.
Lynchburg, Virginia, 24504, and I'm here about Harrison Street on the corner of 11th and Harrison.
Okay,
Can I say something before we get started?
please.
My secretary, office manager's been to the last few meetings, and I haven't, and I apologize for that. I like doing things myself. But I talked to Eve, and I'm in no rush, right? I'm one of the few people that isn't in a rush. But rather than me pick a door and then you pick it apart, I brought a door manual and a window manual, and hopefully I could get some guidance either now or in the future on what to order. I know you guys want to protect the historic integrity of the house I'm getting ready to build, and I'm happy to do so. But for me to come to a meeting to pick out a light fixture and then come to another meeting to pick out a railing and to come to another meeting, it is a poor use of everybody's time. So I was just going to suggest that I bring up a few items that aren't on the agenda, but if you don't want me to, I'm happy to submit later. But I do have a door and a window book that would show what I want to use, which is as per the drawings. All I'm doing is sizing them up as per the drawing.
So let's address the driveway first, because that was submitted as the original application, and then it's up to the commission on whether you'd like to address the other items that I forwarded you on Friday, and additionally the doors and windows. That would be
Okay.
my
Are
suggestion.
you Eve?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, so let's take that approach. Let's stick with the driveway for now, and then we'll,
And I can, I'm in no hurry, so not to take up these people's time, so we can go over the driveway and I can hover in the corner and,
okay, move the other items to the end of the agenda. That'd be
Okay.
great.
now, do you want me to tell you about the driveway?
Please.
One, I'm a little trying to figure out why driveways are historic, or the layout is, but actually, I submitted this, and I don't know if anybody's been by there, but we've cleaned off about 18 truckloads worth of debris and trash and so forth and so on. So we're heading in the right direction, but after clearing all that, I can put in a driveway just as shown, but my preference would be to have parking closer to the alley with a sidewalk, because I do have some grade issues. And if I put the driveway in as I had drawn there, it's gonna be sloped to where the water's gonna wanna head straight to the house. And I was gonna put the driveway up by the alley where it's level, and then have a stairway walkway to the house.
So for clarity, in the upper right corner is where you would like it?
Well,
Is that
where
right?
where it says, and I don't have my glasses, but right there where your arrow is, where it meets the alley,
Mm-hmm.
I would put in the parking there and then have a sidewalk down to the house.
Shouldn't be an issue at all.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Right, yeah. No, and to answer your question, usually it's just the placement of the driveway or the sidewalk that we're concerned with. You said you didn't know why we cared. It's more about placement. We don't like them in front yards, but
Oh,
not
right,
an
I
issue here.
got you. Well, this is, for those of you that aren't familiar with the development, this is a city right-of-way alley that services about 10 houses, and mine being the first one on the left. And there you go. So I was planning on just coming up the alley and then turn left and have the cars off the alley, and make the driveway deep enough where the rear of the car isn't hanging on the alley where people are concerned about getting around it and that kind of thing. So I'd probably have at least a 24 to 30-foot deep driveway, 2 cars wide, and then hook it to a sidewalk that would take you down to the house.
Okay, and it's concrete, it says paved/concrete. Was concrete what your intention is, or asphalt's not typically something we approve?
Concrete, I do myself. Asphalt, I do have others. So I'm retired. This is a project for me, you know, just to keep me.
Usually, concrete or gravel is usually preferred as opposed to asphalt, just that.
Well, I put down concrete, make me do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
not crush and run gravel, but
yeah,
like
yeah.
pea gravel or,
Pea
yeah.
gravel or stone dust or,
I'm fine with concrete.
yeah.
Okay,
concrete would be perfect.
great.
I'd move to approve as submitted and discussed with the parking be against the alley and a sidewalk to the house, and the finish being concrete.
I'll second.
Further discussion?
And the sidewalk is concrete as well, just to clarify?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yep.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right. So I'll hang out in the background till after.
Yes, sir, please.
Thanks.
great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate y'all's time.
Next on the agenda is the request of Russ Lescott.
Close.
Close?
It's Russ Lesko.
Okay, thank you.
Water run.
To replace some windows, porch railing, and a porch door at 1500 Madison.
If you look at the picture right there, photo number 1, that's a picture from 1942 of the side of the house. Now, when I say side of the house, it's 66 feet away from the roadway of Madison. And if you see there close, you can see there's actually 4 windows at the bottom and then the transom windows at the top. Currently, though, the transom windows are blocked off with wood, and they're not used, nothing there. And then they replaced the 4 windows with just 3 windows, one gigantic piece of glass just shoved in there with some trim, and then 2 pieces of vinyl windows on the side. What we'd like to do is that we would like to replace them with Pella Lifestyle Series windows, which is a wooden aluminum clad window. Very good insulation, but it looks very, and if you look in that picture right there, that is a representative of a house in that they did, Pella Windows did, in Roanoke. It's a house built in 1834. So it's a good window that would bring back the structure to where it was at one time. The reason why we want to replace the window, besides the looks, is that this window is currently leaking. Every time we have a large rain, we have to pre-plan everything, take away furniture, put down some plastic and everything else, and just try to protect our floors.
Wow. Sounds like a good cause.
Yeah.
And then those are the dimensions of the windows we got from the Pella contractor.
Basically going back to the original layout.
Trying to go back to the original style, yes.
Looks great.
And our next request was porch rails. If you look at the house in the back in this picture right here on the far left, number 7, that was taken in 1936, and then the one right next to it was done in 1946, I think it was. It represents the side of the house on the opposite side we just talked about earlier. When the house was originally built, they had no side porch. Then they put up a wooden porch. And then in the next picture in 1950, or 1956 or so, they put up a concrete porch. And then they took and put chain link fences as railings for that concrete porch. So basically, the porch itself is not historically accurate. It's a very eyesore if you're walking down the sidewalk or you're driving up the street. And we would just like to replace that chain link fence with some nice iron rails.
Okay.
And then on that same porch, if you look at that window, picture number 11, you'll see they had an old window before it was turned into a porch, and then they made their porch back in the 1950s, put a door there, and they took a steel-clad door with its plastic frame around a window. It's insulated nicely enough, but the whole plastic's falling apart now, and it just looks ridiculous. And this is 73 feet away from the roadway. We would like to place it with a insulated fiberglass door, also from Pella. Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Discussion?
Everything looks appropriate.
I
to me.
make
Yeah, I
a
was
motion
gonna
to
say.
approve. My comment is your application is delightful.
Really
I love the
nice.
history lesson and all of, like, it was just,
Okay.
it was very,
Well, thank you.
yeah, it's great.
I'd second.
Second. Further discussion? All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Thank you, sir.
Thank
and
you.
good luck.
Thanks, Russ.
Good job.
It's so much easier to review when you get
I
it.
know, like, that's so interesting, energy, like, I loved it.
All right, next is Sarah Lisa Paulson. with the request to add railing to a front porch and resurface a concrete walkway and stoop at 2705 Rivermont.
Hi.
Afternoon. If you would state your name and your address.
My name is Sarah Alyssa Paulson, and I live at 2705 Rivermont. So
And tell
this
us
is
a
my
brief-
first time here.
Sure, no, fair enough. If you would briefly explain to us what you'd like to do.
Well, I'm right on Rivermont. I grew up on North Princeton. Been living in New York City for the last 30 years, so I'm here again, to be close to my parents, and just being on Rivermont, is a bit, I just needed a bit more privacy. The previous owner destroyed the boxwoods, and two of them are living now, so they're going to grow, and I'm planting other things, and they're growing as fast as they can. But I'm really interested in having more privacy on the porch. It is a framed porch, which isn't historically accurate in itself, and so I'm trying to have a better solution than the curtains. So this is a solution I came up with. And I did read the manual and saw that some privacy is option is permissible in such a situation, and yet it doesn't really work as a porch railing because the porch railings are so much shorter. So I tried to kind of think about it more how do you say it, proportionately. So we have a taller top. The rail, it comes up to a taller height, and so I thought that it would be reasonable to have a wider porch rail, than what's usually I guess around 2 inches. This is more like 3.5. So this is what I'm hoping to have approved, and I do think it looks better than the curtains. And I am trying to do this myself. So I've got some help from my son, and we put this together with kind of shims. So once it's not screwed in. I have stainless steel screws ready to go, but I also realized that since I understand that if it's permanent, you have to get permission. So if it's about the exterior of the house, the former owner did a lot of the work in the interior. It looks really great, but he didn't do much in the exterior. So this is what I'm proposing in a sense.
Okay.
So they're equidistant. I was also thinking about a pattern. I had seen I took some pictures, and I have some more pictures, but of different rail systems in the neighborhood, and some of them do have a kind of system where you'd have like the 3-inch, and then you'd have the 3.5-inch, and then the 1.5-inch, in a sense, and with the patterning. So that's when I felt like, I could actually play with the 3.5-inch side of the the 2x4. So I'm hoping, since the framing itself is not historically accurate, that this would be permissible to have a very equidistant railing system. And do you want me to talk about this project
Please.
as well? This is a proposal I received. Again, I'm in the process of putting a new roof on, so that's a huge expense. So I'm hoping, that I was looking to do something kind of, to make the front stoop look a little bit better, and for us, until I have money to do it right, the stoop, and like really have slate or brick, which is my what I would like to do in the future. But this is something that's regular. It's not like these random squares or anything like that. It is regular. They're regular lines, and this is a resurfacing of the concrete walkway going to the stoop, which also is not historically accurate as it stands because it's concrete and it's cracked and it looks bad to me. However, the concrete walkway is in such good condition. It's just the stoop that does not look great. So this is a solution where it would look very uniform, I think, and I would revisit this in a few years probably. So
Thank you.
I'm hoping that you we'll consider these two proposals. And thank you, Eve, for your, your responsiveness to my requests.
Well, I haven't seen a porch with that type of privacy setup before, so it's new. This is new, something new to me.
Yeah, can't say that's, we've had this before.
I don't recall.
Yeah.
It's a little unusual. You know, you talked about the more narrow boards than the wider, or even a pattern. I think it would help break it down some if you, I think the big 4-inch boards or 3.5s, side by side, kind of makes it almost look picket fence-ish.
fence, yeah.
I think it maybe like alternate, it had one and then a smaller, a bigger, a smaller, a bigger, smaller. A different pattern would help ease it a little bit. It's just kind of overwhelming with all the 4-inch boards. But otherwise, I think it would be appropriate. Just seems, it becomes almost solid with them side by side like that.
And would they all be like flush or some in, some out?
Right. This was the first pattern that I sent to Eve, and thanks for showing the picture. I appreciate that. And when I was working with my son, he thought it really should be flush. And so then we did the patterning that they're all, 3.5 inches out. So, I'm open, to if you think a pattern looks better, then and we can push the 3.5-inch boards out to the
I think all in the same plane.
all in the
would
same
be-
plane. Yeah, that would
good.
okay. So his
But I think a pattern, and even
Okay.
alternating wide, narrow would be fine.
okay.
It's something to just break up the big mass.
So, I make a motion to approve with the suggestions that Emmett made with the alternating
alternating.
pattern and the same plane.
Do you think there's a bit of a complicating factor in the front because the two inner frames are wider than the two outer frames. So if you can kind of see, if you can zoom in the picture, there's 6 boards, I think. Yeah, there's 6 in the so I could just do it equidistant, right? Is that what you're saying? Like do one. Do you think it would be? What about would 2 wide and 3? Like if we did that pattern, would that be okay?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah?
Just break it down.
Yeah, just
break
a
it
little
down.
bit of a
Okay.
variation.
Okay.
I don't think it's a,
And keep them all on the same plane.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks for your feedback.
Sure. Oh, and are we just doing the rail and then
And
the
do
driveway?
concrete
or-
together.
We can do it all
Concrete
together.
seems, it's concrete on
Yeah.
concrete, so it seems to be appropriate as well.
So,
I'd
yeah,
support
just
that.
my,
Combine them.
yeah,
If
so
you're
my
comfortable
motion
with that.
stands, I, as,
Add the concrete to it.
including the concrete. I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank
Good
you.
luck, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, the request of Jamerson Lewis Construction to replace light fixtures at 1312, 1316, 1316 and a half Church Street. Afternoon. If you would, please state your name and address and a summary of your proposal.
Absolutely. William Cook, I'm co-owner of the property, also with Jamerson Lewis Construction, the construction company doing the work. Know several of you very well. So the address is 1312, 1316, and 1316 and a half Church Street. This is my second time before you all for this property. First time we were presenting a lot of the exterior finish materials that we were planning to do to help restore these deteriorating buildings. And what we hadn't really put any time into yet were the exterior fixtures. But we kind of left it and saying, hey, well, before you pick something, just submit it to us so we can get looked at and hopefully approved. So what we've done, we leaned on some friends of ours and took a couple, kind of got an idea as to what we felt was reasonably accurate to the historically, but also kind of with the architecture of the houses. And we submitted some options: a Princeton 630 series flush for the ceilings, a larger sconce for our side entrances, and then a more of a over door sconce for the new porches around back and some of the other kind of tougher to access electrical rough ends. We have with this light specifically, we have a kind of a restriction in terms of the rough end is right above a door, so we can't have but so much drop in the fixture, otherwise it'll keep the door from opening. So we submitted those. Initial feedback was, let's try to pick something a little bit more simpler, cleaner, and elegant. And while we certainly want these buildings to look as marketable as possible and as historically accurate as possible, the price of those fixtures just made it worth my time to come down here and talk to you guys, because we're talking thousands of dollars and additional costs. So my hope here today is to either kind of ask for reconsideration of the initially submitted fixtures, or just continue discussions regarding what else may kind of fall somewhere in between. And as point of reference, the submitted fixtures all range, I think, in about $150 to $250 in cost. And then the ones that were suggested, we've talked to 2 of our local lighting vendors, and not a single one was below $600 a fixture. So there's just that, aspect of, we're looking at about $8,000 in total in additional cost if we can't
But
get the
these
original.
two fit into your world.
Correct. So the so the one on the right was both of these were 2 of the light fixtures we submitted. I think that both of these are probably about $235 a piece, and then the simpler, more metallic fixture was about $150 a piece. So the,
These are the most recent submittal.
Yeah.
So the commission hasn't seen these until.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, man.
Okay, so yeah,
I
sorry.
remember these.
sorry. I'm looking at this. I'm Lauren, who's been helping me with this.
Yeah, there were some earlier discussed ones, but I guess they never got here.
There was no consensus from the
I
commission.
think one time.
There was a couple of emails. There was no consensus from the commission, so we ended up at
Yeah.
the meeting with these options.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we looked at some of the other photos were some of the existing fixtures. The ceiling one may have been, at least, it may have been installed in the 50s or 60s, but certainly probably wasn't original.
Right.
And then the one on the side there, I think it was, who knows when. And so the other unique thing is because of the 3 buildings having much different uses. We had one that was just completely, torn to shreds and falling, floors falling through, roof leaking everywhere. Then we had one, and then the other 2 were mostly and regularly occupied. So we kind of, they're different states of deterioration. And
Yep.
we certainly want to put that uniformity across them. And granted, we don't own 2 of the 5 in the row, so we can't help what those look like.
Right.
But we're kind of hoping that uniformity will help them all look better.
Sure.
These seem
I-
very appropriate.
Yeah, these
I
are
agree.
nice.
Do we have a motion?
Me? Okay. Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve as submitted.
Very good.
Second.
Further
And-
discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none opposed, I think you're in good shape.
Very good.
Thank you, sir.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good
guys.
luck.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, William.
All right. Next on the agenda is a request of Joshua and Marie Rolfe to construct a new house at 416 Cabell Street. Afternoon.
How's it going?
If you would, please state your name and the property address and discuss your proposal.
Yeah. My name is Seth Good. I'm with Franklin Builders. I'm here representing Maria and Joshua Rolfe, who are building at 416 Capitol Street. They closed on the lot on Friday. So they could not be here. They really wanted to be, but they could not, so I am here. It's my understanding they submitted, their proposal for the home, and that's it right there, that we also designed for them. It's very important to them that it is historically accurate, and that it meets the standards that you guys are looking for, but at the same time, there's, I wouldn't say lack, but we're trying to make it as affordable as we can, but also have the looks, and we want to build something really cool in the city as well. So it's very important to us. We're very excited about it. So just trying to come to an understanding of, what makes the most sense. And yeah, I guess any questions you guys have in regards to the selections that they submitted, but yeah.
Michael?
You're asking my thoughts?
Yeah.
So I think I need some education.
Okay.
I'm not an architect. Yeah. The first thing that jumped off to me was two different materials, I guess, used on the front. It's brick and then hardy plank, is that right?
That's correct.
I don't know of any other homes in any of the historic districts that have a mix like that. I could be wrong. Yeah, I'll back up. If I can respectfully ask, can you help educate me on the historic aspects of this versus if you were putting it in a newer subdivision?
Yes, it's a Tudor style home. So I don't have the history of Tudor style other than they are old, And as far as the rest of the subdivision or all the other homes in the historic society, I don't really know. But I could drive around and find out. The Rolfes would know better. This is a style that's preferred by them. But I do know that the Tudor style is an older, style home. So that's
I think
it.
it would be more appropriate if it, like we're all siding,
Yeah.
as opposed to the brick, the kind of brick, and then, you see this so often in
Newer subdivisions.
subdivisions where you get the stone stuck on the gable and then it changes and changes, and I think you're right, Commissioner, that in a historic district, typically we would see one material on the whole of the house as opposed to switching up like that. And actually, if you went to all siding, it would in theory be a little cheaper.
Potentially, it's a minimal cost difference.
Yeah.
I know they like the look, with it being hardy. If it was vinyl, that'd be different.
Yeah,
That'd be
yeah.
Big savings.
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's not. So it's really gonna be similar in price. If it were me, in my personal preference, I would prefer it to be all brick than all siding, because once you go all siding, it really has more of a farmhouse type of look, which
Well,
is
the
not
brick
what
is-
they're going for at all,
The brick would be more in keeping with Tudor styles
Yeah,
anyways.
as well,
Any
yeah.
Tudor style that you see in the area is usually
Yeah.
all brick, so.
Correct.
Might be painted brick, but most of them are brick, so.
Yeah, and the brick and hardy siding mix is more of a new spin on Tudors, I guess. But there are some old styles that have it as well. We could find pictures of older Tudors that have it, but not necessarily.
And maybe the main body of the house, that everything that's two-story is brick, and the wings siding, they could be additions later
Right.
that would
Yeah,
be
that would-
appropriate, and that would help
Yeah, I think that-
minimize the all-brick cost.
Okay.
And that would be fitting
Yeah.
for the area,
Yeah,
good.
I think they'd be impartial to that. I
yeah,
can't speak
I think
for
the
them, but-
two little one-story wings could easily be siding, but the main body be a good substantial brick
Okay.
would be appropriate. Otherwise, it's
Make a
very
note.
handsome. No, I think it would fit.
Right.
Your
it's
little
adorable.
metal over the front window, what are you thinking that is?
Probably just standing seam metal. They've mentioned-
Pre-finished as opposed to copper?
Correct, and they've talked about that, but they are on a budget, so
Yeah.
we'll have to just see what
Okay.
will make sense.
Yeah, pre-finished metal would be
Okay,
appropriate.
yeah, it'll be standing seam for
Yeah.
sure.
And I think you had shingles.
Architectural shingles,
Yeah.
yeah. So, and I know, that's another thing, I went down the street, and I know it's less about what's on the street currently as far as, I saw some vinyl windows, I'm not trying to, get people in trouble, there's
Yeah.
architectural shingles, but at the same time, I know that's less important than it's new construction, let's try to get it, right from the beginning.
Yeah, I
So-
mean, we've approved architectural shingle at various locations, particularly when it's already shingle, typically, I don't think.
Agreed. I don't know that we've ever let them replace a slate or
No.
standing seam or terracotta.
No, not with shingles, but in new construction, I think shingles are black.
Okay.
To have at least an emulation of slate.
Okay. I'm just taking notes.
So, I guess we're bouncing around. If we stick with roofs, one of my thoughts was, as I think the rest of you know, on the block directly across the street from this is supposedly 13 tiny houses. So now we're looking at 13 more asphalt roofs in
New construction?
Cabell's view. Yeah,
The little.
The
There was
little,
a single there.
yeah.
TA11s things?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're
Did
tiny
we
houses?
approved,
We've approved the
concept.
the floor
We're taking
plan,
this
if you
tangent. Give
will.
us-
We've, yeah, the lot
Yeah.
division in only one of the homes so far.
Anyway, two?
Three?
Three, okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so at some point, if that goes to plan, it will be 12. We haven't seen all of the drawings, but presumably they'll stay on the same sheet and all be asphalt shingles. Where I'm going is, this is, if you come in off D Street, it's the first block in the historic subdivision, and on it, on one side of the road, you're gonna have 13 new construction tiny houses. And on the other side, another new construction house. We can debate if it looks historic or what have you, but, yeah, so now you're seeing 13 asphalt roof, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, is this like every other house in Cabell Hill? No.
Agreed, there's a
But-
wide variety.
Yeah, it's a wide variety, and this
Architecture.
could show up, this could well show up in a historic district somewhere. I mean, we can certainly find this house in a historic district in Lynchburg. It may be.
You lost me there.
This house, it's certainly later. It's not 1890 to 1920. It's probably 1930 to 1950.
Okay,
But could still be in a historic district and
Okay.
and would be a contributing building in historic district in terms of its style and age visually. So I would have a hard time saying this wouldn't fit in the historic district because of its image.
okay. Solely, but then we start factoring in materials which constitute or contribute to the image, right? I
Yeah.
think. That's where I'm,
But on that house in another historic district in town, I think you'd probably find maybe slate, or maybe asphalt, the asphalt shingles that you would find in the 50s or something.
maybe, you're right.
Yeah, I
We can
don't think
speculate,
I don't
right.
think this house in this style would have metal roof. Don't think.
And
I think it-
particularly if it
With that
was,
swoop thing.
Yeah, I think it
that's
would,
called.
I think it would be more shingled than metal roof in this style. So if we're talking new construction, it'd be wonderful if it were slate, but we wouldn't,
get any new construction.
Even synthetic,
but even synthetic, we would, if it were already a slate roof, we would require it to be. Let's see,
right?
have we approved, no, we haven't approved asphalt shingles in
Over slate.
replace of
Over
slate.
No.
But to his point, the tiny
But
homes are
have
gonna have that. Yes,
synthetic.
I like your title, the tiny homes, but
With all respect, of course.
Yeah. They're not all tiny. I mean, they're,
13 lots on 3/4 of a city block.
yeah, I mean, they're tight and, anyway, we fought that fall.
Another question I had, and I realize this is just an illustration, can you tell me more about the windows? Usually I see 4/4, 2/2, 1/1. I'm not sure how these even
but for
open.
Tudor,
They're casement.
this would be Tudor, right?
I'm sorry?
They're casement windows, so they have like cranks.
Oh, so they like swing kind of?
Correct.
Oh, okay, thank
Which
you.
would be Tudor, like traditional.
That would be
Yeah.
semi-appropriate, yeah. Casements in a house like this. You had window, did you have window submittal? Am I remembering? Guess I'm mixing submittals. That was a different one.
Right here, actually.
This is Anderson's one, oh, it's not showing. That is the right website. While she's trying to find it, Anderson is one of the, biggest manufacturers in the country for windows, but they came out with the Fiberix product, which is it's a composite product. I'm not a window salesman, but it is they still have vinyl windows and they're cheaper. This is their step up, and it's something we're starting to put in the majority of our homes in comparison to aluminum clad. One of the main reasons why it's a little bit cheaper, but it's more durable. And it's less maintenance and some capacities than aluminum clad. And to me, I can't tell a difference. Where you really can tell a difference when a vinyl window, especially a high quality vinyl window versus some of the aluminum clad windows, is more so the grids between the glass, which we call them GBG grids. So another thing we could do is SDL bars, is what we call them, so where the grids are on the outside of the glass, where you really can't tell. Unless you were a window, manufacturer. So I know they would be fine with that. That would really be up to you, you guys. But that would save them some money. The SDL bars are more expensive, but I think that would, keep it in line with the historical, district, and no one would be able to tell the difference.
I think you're right, Michael. The three pieces doesn't seem right. So in theory, it's one piece of glass, and whatever you put in to break it up into
Yep.
pieces is something you all are gonna do in order.
It's really up to you guys. So there's so many different options for the grid patterns.
Yeah, I don't think the three like that would be appropriate. I think it would be better, even if it were just one bar and above
Yeah,
and
we
below.
definitely could do that too.
A lot of these era houses, you would have seen like the diamond pattern, the diamond pattern in the casements.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's even an option for
I
them.
think it is. Anderson says they can do anything. So, yeah, we could definitely look at some different options that I think
To
would
me,
be
that
more in
has
line
more
with what you're
appeal.
looking
It's
for.
less modern.
Yeah, I think the diamond pattern, in my head, I'm seeing that in this type of house,
Yeah.
in other locations.
Yeah, we could see what was available. The grills, yep.
And I thought, I've heard, I think called muttons or munions. Anyways,
Muttons.
the exterior is what we want on these. We've denied others where they were between the two panes.
Okay. Yeah, I guess those would be the options for this window. So I don't know if any of those would work for you guys.
Yeah, not really. None would be better than any of these.
Right, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
So none of the mullions? No mullions, you think?
Not the small, not the colonial. You see, those are very different. Well, she's Googled,
Right, found some other tutors.
yeah, Tudors, and it was 1 million down the middle of the glass as opposed to,
It's like a bay window or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's like the strips.
Yeah.
Skinny. I see how you could feel like that colonial was
Yeah,
similar, but right, it's really 2 over 2 over 2.
And to take a tangent, the materiality, I'm okay with, it is, I think we've approved
Yep.
those windows before, so the the type of window I think
Composite.
you're good on.
Great.
But I think you'd be better off with no muttons at all
Okay.
than any of those three that were there.
And they don't have to be casements either. We can do double hung windows that have that bar in the middle, which would
Yeah.
actually save them money.
Yeah,
Casements
I-
are more expensive. you
Actually,
know.
the casements are very appropriate for this
More-
type of house.
right.
Very much so. And I don't know if you could ping Keller and just say, hey, can you have the diamond pattern in this window as well? Because that seems like I've seen them on other
Okay.
Pella formats.
You know, and another thing is, you know, the Rolfs have not chosen windows yet, so I don't know, it's kind of like, you know, what would they allow us to do? Now that we know that you guys would approve this type of window, it's
Yeah.
like, all right, what can we come up with
Yeah.
that they like, that, you know, you guys would also be okay with?
Yeah, you
So
want to go, yeah, there you go. You know,
would that come back to them needing to come in here for that? Or would that be just through email? Hey, you guys already approved the window, here's the grid pattern that we'd like.
Could we
So,
leave that up to Eve?
Or pending the motion, if that's what the motion included specifically,
Yeah.
then that would be
Yeah.
what's approved.
Right.
And if, and not to overcomplicate, but if that isn't the only thing they would have to do is the diamond, right? Because like
There
our,
are some other options, but that would give it the
in
most,
fairness to
most
them.
oomph in terms of historicity.
You guys would prefer that? And
Yeah,
we'll see what
yeah,
other
that-
options they would like, and, I mean, we're all working together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be quite appropriate. You want to articulate all that, or you want me to jump in?
Well, I've got another question or two. Ceiling height was one of the things, that I saw the drawing said 9, but I don't know, I think that's, I'm not a builder. I think that's standard height on new construction residential, is that
I mean,
right?
you can get 8 in a heartbeat, but 9 is much nicer.
I don't know, well, I haven't been in every house on the street, I've been in lots of them in town, and I don't know many that have that on the first floor.
right, they're all the higher.
Right.
Even higher, but I think in terms of this house, I'm not sure the much higher would be. Again, trying to, in my head, visit this house in a historic district that was built in the 40s, I don't think you would find a 10-foot ceiling in this house. I mean, it's possible.
And in
Yeah.
the new division, I don't
Sorry?
think, in the, I'll just use your term, tiny houses, I want to move them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we're not having that
I
higher
don't remember
ceiling.
what those were, but I think 9 foot would be acceptable for me.
But I hear,
I appreciate your
Yeah.
expertise. This is your wheelhouse much more than
Yeah,
mine.
yeah.
We are doing vaulted ceilings in the master bedroom on the second floor. Yeah, I mean, if it goes up to 10 foot on the whole main level or anything like that, it just raises the cost. I mean, they would prefer that, you know? I would prefer that. It's much nicer.
Right?
But 9 foot, and we've built multi-million-dollar homes with 9-foot ceilings and, you know, main level. So I know that doesn't play a factor in this, but.
Yeah, I'd be okay with the 9-footers, Mike.
Okay. I'm only putting this on the table, I guess, for discussion. It doesn't really impact this vote. But I couldn't help but wonder, again, with all of them across the street and now this one, how's that going to impact our guidelines or the way we review these? It would have to have a different bar, a different criteria.
I think the guidelines say new construction, massing, placement, so that's not set back with a giant yard, that its face is in alignment with adjacent, which I think the application said it would be. So typically, new construction in historic districts is dealing more with massing, scale, you know, certainly with Mr. Morrell's project, we talked about the 2-story versus the 1, and that came forward as an agreement that the 2-story was more appropriate. But I go, for me, you know, if it's sitting in the same plane as the rest of the street, and generally in keeping in terms of the range of style that we would see in the neighborhood,
So all I have is my opinion. It's not like anything else on the street in terms of style, in my opinion.
but you noted that district does have a range.
For sure, and they were built across a spread of time, but I don't know if any of them are newer than 100 years old on Cabell. They're all old.
That's a point, that's a point.
There's two other houses on this block. They're both large, they're both 2 stories. They have 10, 11-foot, maybe 12-foot ceilings. I'm reading over the paragraph at the top about new construction. Should maintain, not disrupt the existing pattern of surrounding historic buildings along the street, being in similar shape, scale, height, width, roof shape, roof pitch, orientation to the street, location, proportion of porches, entrances, windows, etc. Again, only my opinion. I wasn't seeing that when I read that requirement and saw this drawing. There's, the house that would be next to it.
I think there is so much variety, though. I don't know that I could interpret it as disruptive in the sense that there's not a set style for the
To me,
street.
13 houses on those 2 blocks is disruptive. This is just one
Well,
of
right,
them,
but that is like,
Different thing.
and that will also contribute to what is a style on this street, being that this wouldn't be
Historic.
that out of, wouldn't be disruptive because it's gonna
I
be,
guess, Michael, the question for me goes, could this house exist in this district prior to 2023? And if it were built if somebody, I don't know what was here before, but something burned down here or torn
did.
down here, what? But if that happened in the 30s and somebody came in the 40s or 50s and said that
Put
this
this-
is the house that's gonna go in, it could have happened. And, I'll go to Victoria Street.
Fair enough, yeah.
Victoria Street where they popped in those cottages.
Yeah.
I don't think those cottages would have happened in a historic district at some point in time, where I do think this one may have popped into a historic district at some point in time. You know, if it were that cottage on Victoria Street, I would be more in your court right now than this, but it's not as imposing in terms of scale of the other houses in the neighborhood. But it is historic in image and placement. And I'd be willing to give it some leeway in terms of, it does have a historic vocabulary enough that it's not a suburban house. You know, if you walked in here and one of the houses from Forest, that we see over and over again, that for me wouldn't.
To me, the only thing that made this different was, and my vocabulary is not good, the swoop in the roof line. Other than that, it looked like Cornerstone or Farmington to me. When I went to the builder's website, there was lots of similar designs in new subdivisions, and they didn't have the swoop, but other than that,
but I think if you envision the slight change with the brick so that we have the consistent style on the front and just the idea of the additions and then the
Would you
windows
guys-
that we talked about, and then the swoop is different. I mean, I think that does help set it apart with, if there were
That's
those
really
other
what makes it a
changes.
Tudor, it's just a swoop, subtle swoop. Tudors generally are pretty, basic homes, and all. Another thing that we could do, instead of even the hardy siding or doing all brick, we could do stucco, which is pretty, normal for Tudors. I don't know if that would be an option, but unless you guys really don't want to have a mix of materials. But for the Tudor style in particular, that is normal. Normally what you would see instead of siding would be stucco and brick. Again, I think the Rolfs would be impartial, but
In particular.
I almost feel like the brick, if the main body was brick and the sides were stucco, that would even blend even more, because there are homes with stucco on that street. And the brick would blend in with the surroundings, if you will. Maybe not the style, but certainly the material. So I think that could help make it a little bit
Yeah.
more, fitting with the street, but.
okay. Sorry, that was,
So-
I had
Motion?
taken some notes. Those were the
That's
notes
okay.
I had.
No.
If other people want to.
No, I think those are all really good points too.
Yeah.
And I think there's not a lot of other opportunities for new construction in that area. So I think if we ever do come to this in the future, I don't think that we're necessarily approving new construction based on new construction we've approved in the past. I think it's still, case by case, reviewing the guidelines, seeing what fits, that kind of thing, so. And hopefully we can have some more influence on the tiny house community. So,
Can I see the request again? Yeah, so, when we still have a chance for more discussion, but I'll make a
Oh, yeah.
motion. That's okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the new single-family home with the exceptions as discussed. I probably should have let Emmett kick this one off, but do you want to jump in on the, keep going? Okay.
Brick on the main body.
Yeah, brick on the main body and with the looking into the diamond casing.
Casement windows,
Casement
yeah.
windows as discussed. Were there any other adjustments? And stucco on the.
Two wings.
And I,
Two wings.
no, I have not talked to them about that.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think they'd be open to it, and from a cost perspective, it's
Yeah.
very similar.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can definitely talk to them about that. I guess the next step after you guys do your motion would be to have them reach back out with selections, I guess, in the future. But I'll let you finish.
Yeah, maybe an amendment to the motion would be, in terms of the patterning of the window, if it's diamond, if you can find a diamond pattern in the casement windows,
Okay.
that could be administratively approved.
Okay.
If it's something different, I think we'd want to have a discussion again.
I know it's gonna be important to them that you guys approve it before we install it,
Yeah.
Same
Oh, yeah.
for us.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
they don't wanna make you guys angry, and neither do I,
Yeah.
So, we haven't got to that point yet. We don't have a signed contract. They're good friends of mine, so they're going to use us. But when we're getting like, hey, we're ordering windows, this is exactly what we're doing.
Yeah,
Is that
yeah.
okay?
Yep,
Before we order, $30,000 worth of windows, let's get that approved.
Makes
So
sense.
we're all on the same page there.
yeah, makes
Um,
sense. I guess the only other item would be light fixtures. I guess it's really only one under that, in that arch.
We did not put that. I don't think
Yeah,
that's an application.
that's something that,
That'd be something else that we'll just
yeah.
make sure you guys.
But you got a
approve.
ways to go before you're
Yeah, that's one of the last things.
doing that, yeah.
And that's not really gonna be a good indicator. We're definitely not doing gooseneck lights.
Yeah,
anything
those
like that.
would not be appropriate, but.
Do we address doors at this point, or do we
Should
leave
we
that open?
say with, adding to his amendment that they come back for the light fixtures and pink colors? Do we have pink colors submitted?
We don't.
So,
so.
pink,
Yeah,
so
that would
maybe,
make
but in
doors.
general, it's approved,
It
like,
was really just trying to get it approved from a budget, budget
Yes.
standpoint.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, they're very agreeable, they're not gonna try and do anything weird,
Yeah.
but
So
as far as
either-
how that gets approved, I don't.
Yeah,
that's
so
supposed to
the
be
motion would want to say with light fixtures, paint colors, front doors would be
approved,
for a secondary submittal.
yes,
And driveways and sidewalks and that sort of thing. as well.
right.
And just as a heads up, I'm just gonna mention this because we do have the rendering. The doors on a Tudor are typically wood, all wood.
Yeah.
With very little, like windows in it, so, not sure if that would be an option for them, but I know because the doors on this rendering were all like full light, that's generally not what you're gonna see on a Tudor, so.
That's a good point.
Just wanted to mention that.
Okay.
Railings as well.
Railings as well, yes, thank you. And the railings were part of the motion, so,
So maybe, do we need to
Do we wanna
strike
split
this
it, or-
motion and go back? Because I feel like now we're making, we can let my motion die and.
For lack of a
let
second.
it die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah, because I feel like, I didn't realize that was all, yeah. I was
So I guess the question would be.
looking at A. Oh, okay.
Can we table it and with the suggestions we talked about and have them bring back another example,
Yeah,
or?
the reality is, I think you'll get approved in terms of the size, the style, the placement. There's just a level of detail that
Okay.
still needs to come.
You'd wanna have every selection on the exterior approved.
I mean, Ms. Burrell's here and is doing, multiple times here. The last one before you, they did all the other things except for those light fixtures. So, yeah, that's not a problem of
It can be
multiple
staggered,
times
yeah.
here.
Okay.
We just don't want to, we don't want to jerk your chain.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I think I think what you're hearing, what we're saying is that what you have shown is generally yes.
Okay.
We just want a little tweaking to make sure that you're comfortable with the yes.
Right. So I guess it sounds like we could actually get started and have selections made during the process, you know, barring them coming in here and getting those selections approved by you guys.
So
Is that correct, or no?
you may want, in case
Well-
that impacted your budget and your
cost, right.
ability to
No,
continue.
that's going to be a
like,
problem. If
yeah.
we don't have an approval today, you're not going to get a building permit.
Right.
Is that a true statement?
Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay, so we need to do a motion that blesses the house and just
Right.
ask
At least
for,
conceptual
Which is similar
design.
to how we did
It-
1105
the tiny
Park.
houses.
Concept, what details have to come
Yeah,
back.
yeah, so I could make that.
you want to jump in? Yeah.
Sure. So has my emotion officially died?
Yeah,
on
yeah, start
that
fresh.
motion?
And Tracy, will you just be clear on if these materials, if anything in here is okay, we can include that for them so they don't have to come back with everything?
Yes. Okay, so I make a motion to approve the concept and style of the home as submitted with the changes of having brick on the front facings.
The main two-story body.
Main two-story body.
Yeah, yeah.
And stucco on the, what is the terminology?
Wings,
The
yeah.
wings. Emmett's gonna coach me through this. And the window casements to be the,
Diamond
Yeah,
pattern or
diamond
no
pattern.
patterns.
thank you, yes.
Are you also okay with the no pattern? Is that,
Yeah, I think it would be a secondary desire, you know, the diamonds would be preferred. And if you can't get those at all, I think no pattern at all.
I can't speak for her motion. If it was me, my motion would include the diamond patterns. If you want something else, then come back.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I
let's
think
do
that
that, the diamond pattern, and then to return for, and submit the other materials, like the railings, doors, deck,
Lights.
and lights, et cetera.
but you're okay with the roof?
Yeah,
And the roof with the architectural shingles.
and
Yes.
the window style, the Anderson fabrics,
Yes.
yeah, the casement. Or similar, you know, it needs to be, yeah. You said if there's.
The diamond pattern could, you know,
Yeah.
throw a kicker into that. So
Yeah.
I guess we'll just have to see when we get to that point. It's like, hey, we need to change windows, or are you guys okay with, you know, a different
Yeah,
grid pattern?
as long as you don't hit into the vinyl world, you should, you know,
Yeah.
you've heard earlier, the aluminum clad
Mhm.
wood is.
That's pretty much the other option.
Yeah, is always out there, you know, we've seen that over and over again. All wood, painted.
Yep.
You probably don't want that just from a maintenance standpoint.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So just to confirm, we would be able to pull a building permit based on this approval.
If,
And
yeah,
then,
we
you
have
know,
to
as far
vote
as-
still, but yeah.
and vote, but yeah.
So you're finished with your motion?
I think
And
I've
you got it all down?
Covered it all, I believe. Yes. Does that check all the boxes, Eve?
I think so.
Can you read back what you have for clarity?
That's what the video is for.
He wants clarity
For
before
those
the
that are
vote.
voting.
So approving concept and style with changes to include two-story main body as brick, the one-story wings as stucco, the Anderson Fibrix casement windows with the diamond pattern, and the architectural shingle roof, and to return for other materials and details as they are decided upon.
That's exactly how I
Wow.
said it.
Perfect. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Further discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Hearing none opposed?
Thank you very much.
Thank
I
Thank you for
appreciate
your
it.
time.
Yeah,
and
thanks for bearing
understanding.
with
Sorry
us.
to- you know, sorry to-
So, no, it sounds
No,
great.
no.
We're excited for new construction.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Burrell, see what you missed, oh, I'm sorry.
We have one more.
Let me get back to my agenda instead of using my eyes.
Come on up. Yeah.
If you would, please state your name and address and tell us about your proposal.
Absolutely. I'm not Chris Carlson. I'm Adam White, and the address in question is 210, 212 Harrison Street. I'm the new owner, my fiance and I. And simply the reason I'm appearing today is to follow up on the work that Mr. Carlson had done in submitting a packet indicating his desire to switch from the vinyl windows he had installed during renovation to either wood or aluminum clad windows to comply with the HPC. And simply so, I'm here to kind of ride the coattails of what he has already submitted, and to effectively say that what we would like to do is simply execute an order already in place for wood windows or, aluminum clad, if you would allow it. And simply to have that work done in a relatively timely manner, and to allow for that without a lot of extra labor, I suppose. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
As you heard, the aluminum clad wood is definitely has been approved multiple times in
Multiple
historic
times.
districts, yeah.
Is that, and the idea that would be the aluminum portion could be already colored?
Yeah, absolutely can.
And would not require then additional painting?
Exactly, it's a
Okay.
factory finished metal that is wonderful in terms of maintenance over time.
Okay.
Yeah. And I guess, Eve, have colors already been approved in previous submittals?
I don't think he changed the color of the windows. I think they've always been white.
White.
You can
Okay.
see the original
Yeah,
ones
so-
right here.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
our feeling is we, of course, would want to go with the historic integrity of the building, the colonial style with white aluminum. If we were to go with aluminum, is what we would be glad to do that, to keep that in compliance. I think that would probably, for us, create some cost savings. There's money in escrow held back to make this happen. So it's really a matter of just simply, in my mind, executing the order and then lining up a contractor.
Right.
Um,
And go back to the elevation, Eve. Which,
So
is
it's,
this a duplex?
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
half and half?
It's a duplex.
And
it's-
we're just addressing half?
no, so it'll be this window, this window, this window, this window, and then the bottom two. So 6 in
But not the
total.
front bottom two?
No, he did not replace those.
Okay,
so
those are original.
those are
Okay.
wood, yes.
Okay. Wanted to make sure I was seeing the right ones. Yeah, the aluminum clad wood to match the existing pattern is what went before council and was approved. Am I making that a correct statement? To basically match the other windows, the multi-pane, I guess it's what, 6/6? Is
So,
that what they are?
I'm sorry, did you say they were approved by council?
The vinyl windows, council agreed that the vinyl windows had to come out and be replaced.
Mm-hmm.
There was no definition of what it would be.
Council does not issue an approval or disapproval, they simply oppose the motion.
Right.
So they
Comes back to
they-
us.
I mean, they had their opinions,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
from a legal standpoint, all they did was uphold.
Right.
the motion.
Right, okay.
right,
Yeah, they were addressing the appeal, not necessarily the details of what
okay,
needed to follow.
okay.
I think the proposal is to match the originals,
Right.
but he's provided two different windows, the Pella and then the gelled one.
Yeah, the Pella,
I think both of what he sent me though were aluminum clad. I'm not sure where the wood.
yeah,
But-
the aluminum clad wood 9/9 to match the existing adjacent would be appropriate, and I'd make a motion to approve that.
With the exterior ones.
Buttons.
Yeah, with the exterior buttons to match the existing, yeah, the 9/9, not 6/6.
But you don't care if it's Pella or gelled one. Okay.
It doesn't, aluminum clad wood,
Clad or not clad.
would be
I mean,
acceptable.
yeah, you can do wood and paint it yourself if you
Right,
want.
right. Well, looking to not do that if possible.
And then, just to clarify, it looks like the two lower windows are 2/2? Is that the original pattern,
The
or?
one in the green,
Yeah,
I think,
Yeah, let's see.
I think those must be later.
so are we wanting 9/9 for those as well?
I think,
Is that what you're? Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's a true statement. I think
Okay.
those would be later with this, with the house that I'm seeing, that we would just, you know, they're not being replaced, so they get to stay
Okay.
as they are
Okay.
in their 40s period. or
Yeah,
something.
right. So the lower two windows could either be a 4-pane, as they seem to be now, replacement, just because that was the practice before, or we could go with the colonial style. We could either.
It would be more appropriate to match all, you know, if you were gonna do those two windows, you know, the court order is the 6 that you pointed out earlier. If you were gonna do some other windows, I would do them to match what you're doing,
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
that would make sense. So
Yeah.
what I hear you saying is that we would need to do a colonial style on the lower section as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Okay.
That would be appropriate, yes,
Right.
correct.
How many total windows?
We're talking a
It's-
6 in total.
It's 6 was in our earlier,
Okay.
just a,
The application that wasn't approved.
yeah,
So
denial.
9/9 all the way around, but then also you would recommend 9/9 on the lower windows also, just
Yeah.
for consistency.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when in the historic district, somebody had a brother-in-law that sold those, and,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, just to clarify, your motion is 9/9 for all of the replacement windows?
Mhm,
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
And I think you said it with exterior muttons.
Mhm, yes.
I'll second.
And exterior mutton, help me understand what that exterior muttons is
The frames, the panes, the
That they're not
dividers that make
inside.
it 9.
okay.
Some, in newer
So,
windows, you'll
yeah.
see that often between two panes
Oh,
of glass.
between two planes, yes, and we want to go
On the
with
outside
something
of the
that's
glass.
just framed glass without the multi-layered.
Well, these would be, the glass would be in the middle and the frame would sit on the outside.
Right, of
Yeah.
course,
So,
of course.
so you'll
yeah.
want to match these
Yes.
with the exterior elements rather than the ones that Mr. Carlson put in, because I believe these have the.
Correct.
I think he was making a
Interior.
note when you were
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, yes.
No, it's, I just want,
Yeah.
so if she's saying, yeah, they would be like that.
They wanna
with-
look like the bottom ones, not the top ones.
Yeah.
Right,
Okay.
exactly.
Otherwise,
exactly.
we'll be right back
So,
here.
yeah, so exterior muttons, just so we know what we're talking about, there's not sort of a pane within a pane, it's literally just the wood frame with the glass as the lower two are. Maybe I'm not understanding.
Well, that would be like the original windows are just a pane within the frame, but I think the Pella is it's the frame, the window glass all the way on the inside, and then the frame sits on the outside to mimic that, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of times, some of the manufacturers, there'll actually be a mutton on, out both sides and a spacer
In
in
the
between
inside
the
too,
two
yeah.
pieces of glass, so
Yeah.
it
Okay.
appears, but.
Is that
Yeah,
just the
so you're not
simulated?
going for the wood, the original wood necessarily, but what you're asking for is the same style. So just as long as that framing is sitting on the outside.
Just as long
As
as it-
opposed to running like through the glass like you would see in a new modern home. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes, yes. So that there is an individual pane.
Correct.
Individual pane
It
inserted
mimics an
within
individual, yeah.
9 multiple frames.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, it's confusing.
No, that's good. No, this is helpful. Yeah.
Is there any question regarding the different size shades that are on the building?
The shutters?
Shutters,
that's
I
gonna be
mean,
my
yes,
next
thank
question
you.
too, yeah.
Shutters. Lower level has different,
Well,
and the other one, the
and-
two upper windows have long, now,
And is that in this motion, or are we just?
So, and we mentioned this the last time Mr. Carlson came to
Yeah, I
the
think I
meeting.
brought
The
it up,
shutters
too.
on the house are inappropriate. We've also received neighbor inquiries about the shutters on the house. But because that is not part of your motion and you're not necessarily planning on replacing those at this time. We cannot require you to replace those. We would love it if you did replace them with
Can we
something
point
more
out what-
appropriate.
But come before us.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we've seen
You
it.
understand, these are
Yeah.
longer, and
Yeah.
those are shorter, and those are shorter. and
Yeah.
They're all,
And so, yeah, we've had, ongoing debate about how long that's been the case and so on and so forth.
so again, we can't make you do anything.
Right, there's
with
not
it
a
right now.
judgment against that, but there is a
Yeah.
judgment against the window.
Exactly.
That's-
Right.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand that, okay.
Yeah. Over time.
But feel free to correct the shuttlers with approval.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Over
the recommendation would be neither of those.
Neither of those options, yeah.
But the full length of, like the
Would match the
matching.
full length of the
Yeah,
window,
we'd love
yeah.
to see you come back with a
With
request
with a
for
request
shutters.
to do that in good time,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, our heart's in the right place,
Yeah.
right, in the sense that
Yeah.
that's something, as we continue to own the place, we have felt the desire to correct,
Yeah.
to make it just look a little less disproportionate.
Sure.
But it's also nice to know that we're not under the gun to have to do that
No, that's
immediately.
fine. Right.
I think that's something that'll happen in due course, so, that feels good.
Great.
So we have a second.
Yes.
I don't want to squash any. Is
Oh,
there
we
more
do
discussion?
have a second.
Oh, I'm sorry, who's
I
second?
second.
I thought you did. Did you
Well,
not?
I'll second
Yeah,
it.
she
If
seconded.
I didn't, I second it.
Great.
Last call on discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none?
Okay, great, thank
You
you.
got the
very
green light?
much.
Thank
I
you.
wanted to thank you and Mr. Carlson. They both reached out to me prior to this with their windows and making sure that what they had was on par. And I think it helped make this go smoother, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank
thank
you,
you.
thank you. It's, well, and I'm much relieved. It's, it is, buying a little, buying a pig in a poke when you've got this sort of, pending thing. So thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Mhm.
I do have a question about time frame in terms of the Les Pendens. Winter's upon us. This might be a great sort of spring project. What is our time frame?
So we'll need to discuss that. I think I have a business card on the table out there.
Okay.
If you want to grab that, we can have a call tomorrow.
Okay, great.
If that works for you.
And I'm sorry, it's Eve.
Eve, yes.
Okay, thank
Mhm.
you, Adam.
Ben, would you help him find my card? Thank you.
Yeah, okay, great, thank
I
you.
guess that's, takes off from the point of the original submission, as opposed to 12
Because
from
they're-
today.
It's a little different.
Yeah.
Because there's a violation involved,
Yeah.
so.
Usually it's 12 months from when you sit here and get approval, but because of this whole.
There's been backstory.
Yeah, the backstory creates a little different timeline.
Okay, so we have,
yeah.
we'll figure out how to move on that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate that.
Welcome to the Historic District.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you. I've lived and worked at VES for a number of years. I'm the chaplain
Yeah.
working, so
Oh,
that would have changed. But so it's nice. It's nice to have
Yeah.
be in the neighborhood,
Mhm.
but now in the neighborhood in a different sort of way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we
Yeah,
look
we
forward to
simply
working with
see
you in the
historic
future,
districts
yeah.
be real, more neighborhoody.
Yeah, it's already, we're kind of already in more or less, and it's really quite splendid.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Burrell. Now we'll get back to you.
Thanks for patience.
Yeah, thank you.
Borrowed time anyway, so.
See what you missed the last meeting or two that your secretary or your
Yeah,
admin
well,
endured for you?
Yeah, it gets interesting
I'm
here.
just a half-time resident of Lynchburg, so I'm not here when you need me. What I was hoping to, let me tell you what's going on, and then you tell me what I need to do. I'm not here all the time, and I'm getting ready to leave for the winter. I'm retired and I'm a snowbird, right? So I'm heading south. I'm not gonna do the construction until spring, so there's no big rush on decision-making, but I know you all's times are valuable, and so is mine, and when I started looking at the list, I got, you need rail approval, you want light fixture approval, you want door approval, you want window approval, and I'm happy to bombard you with all kinds of stuff, but it's a fairly simple two-story colonial house, and I was gonna have Bailey Spencer Welding make me a wrought iron rail, because I'm not much on all the plastic pieces that are stuck in on the end, and it looks, looks plasticky. So I sent Eve a picture of a standard wrought iron rail. And I don't have much railing, because it's just the second floor porch, so If it needs to get a little more ornate, I don't think it's gonna break my budget. The light fixtures are a Colonial box light, and I just happened to go into Lowe's and I can, there's 100 of them there. I don't need to use that one, but it was $74 in the budget, bing, bang, boom. And there's only 3 of them on the house, one at each door. And then I had the window brochure and the door brochure. There's a million different kinds of doors, but the doors I'm looking to use are 8 feet tall, same height as the windows, and they're fiber classic. They're called a Smooth Star, and they're better than wood. They're wood grain. They're stainable. They're bulletproof. You can beat them with a hammer. They don't rot. It's a lifetime product. They don't warp. They're weather tight because they don't warp. It's a great door, and it's an expensive door, but that's what I was planning on using there. And if you look at my drawing, I was going to go with a 2-panel door, but if you say I'd rather have a 1-panel door, a 3-panel door, a 6-panel door, I don't care. When I got to looking at doors, I was like, wow, there's 7 million doors in this book. But what I didn't want to do is just come back and come back and come back, nor do you want me to come back. So I was trying to get some feedback on, I'm happy to make a submittal before I leave town. I'm happy not to make a submittal, whatever I need to do. But when I get, I'm a pretty fast builder. And so when I get back, I want to have my act together, so when I hit the ground in the spring, I've already ordered all the stuff. It's all waiting for me. I hit town, and you know, I'm talking about building this in 60, 90 days, but I can't do that if I keep coming back for approvals.
Right.
And nor do I want to do it twice.
Sure.
So you guys hold all the cards. I just need some guidance on how to move forward.
So, keep me honest or appropriate here, Eve. Typically, when we meet as a body, we review applications. We don't make suggestions or give you a punch list of the items to hit. What I would suggest is working with your advocate. This is College Hill?
Federal.
Federal Hill?
I have an advocate.
Who has federal?
It's Mr. Alexander.
Here he is.
Hello, Mr. Advocate.
Hello.
How are you?
Well,
Mark Burrell, nice to meet you.
likewise.
I'm happy to make all these submittals. I mean, if I show that, if I submit that as a wrought iron rail, that's a submittal, and the light fixture is a submittal, and I pick a door and that's a submittal,
Correct.
and the window the same.
Yep, and
So the windows, I think we already approved.
The house, well, I've got a building permit, the footings are already in. I'm, doing hardy, you've approved the house, the roof, the
Yep.
materials, but the comments on the railing and the light fixtures and the doors and the windows, I believe are still hanging out there. And when I,
We can
Yeah, I
vote
mean-
on the.
What you presented.
just presented.
Yeah, I mean,
and-
the railing,
that's good.
Right, it's
Yeah.
lovely.
is quite appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so you all are happy with the railing?
It
I make a
fits the
motion that we
guidelines.
approve.
And Mary Spencer's
So-
great too. so.
And the light fixture
The same.
is,
You're right.
I'd encourage you, just clear glass as opposed to wavy glass.
Yeah.
If you make
That
a
was my
note
thought,
of
too.
that, I'm happy to get a clear glass.
Yeah,
Okay.
it would, the type of fixture looks fine, but I think the
Okay.
wavy is a little more modern-y kind of thing, but it would typically be just a clear glass. So I think if, to your end, I'd make a motion to approve the railing and the light fixture with clear glass as submitted.
And I think the door was
Yeah.
mentioned as well, the front door.
But we don't have a door or a
Yes.
window.
Well, since you're in the Christmas approving mood, for what it's worth,
Okay, here we go.
this window, it's an aluminum clad wood window, so and there's no panes. So there's nothing I can do that won't look like that picture.
Yeah, and that was approved in the original, so
Yeah.
you've already got approval to rock and roll with that then.
Okay?
And then door, what you got?
And then if I go with the panel door look, You're fine with that? It's not a metal door, it's not a wood door, it's a fiberglass, it's a fiberglass.
Yeah, that's the same window that we just approved in an earlier
Yeah.
one, yeah. That would, so I would add the door to that list in terms of.
I'm sorry, does the door look like
The
this?
existing,
Is that what
the
it looks like,
two-panel?
or?
Two panel?
Yeah, the two panel.
Is that what you're?
That would make sense. That look kind of, it's colonial-ish. You know, it's a modern interpretation of a foursquare, so.
Right.
Now, let me ask you something. On the second floor, which is the second floor porch off the master bedroom, the center is I'm showing an all-glass door. Is that fine, or do you want a bottom panel? What I don't want to do is buy an $800 door and you go, that doesn't look like a
I mean,
closet.
just from a functionality standpoint, I think I'd go with a two-panel, like the front
To
door,
match.
but I'd make the bottom panel solid in a bedroom.
But but would you approve
Yeah,
all
I was
glass
going to
if
make
they
the
wanted
bottom
that?
panel
Oh.
solid and the top panel glass.
Yeah, I think that'd be more appropriate in a bedroom, because they're gonna put a curtain on it somehow, and they'll have
Yeah.
to put a curtain all the way down both panels.
Well, they make them
And we can,
slidable.
but just from the functionality, so I would move to approve the front door is two-panel all glass, and the second floor, two-panel
Half
upper
glass.
glass.
Upper glass, yeah, okay.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
I'm getting somewhere. This is great.
Front door, two-panel all glass.
Keep you all late
All
and you're very
glass.
agreeable.
Second floor, two-panel upper glass.
Panel. Okay.
And that was all, right?
That's
You'll
it.
have everybody in a container on site when you get back.
I hope so. That's the way I roll. Get her done.
Do we have a second?
So that's my motion.
I'll second.
And come back with colors and.
Yeah, colors
say-
later.
Yeah, colors later.
Didn't we already approve colors?
When you say colors, I submitted a,
That was part of the original.
And we
Oh,
approved.
okay.
it.
Then we
So
don't
you're
have to-
okay, yeah, you're good.
You don't
Take it
need to
back.
come back, but if you want to, we're here.
yeah, I'm gonna miss you guys terribly by the time I get back here in the spring.
Yeah, right.
Maybe Peter, my advocate, won't even have to hear from me.
Well, I second if there wasn't already a second.
Yeah, we got it.
Do you live on Harrison or in Indiana?
no, no, I live on the other side of town, Boonesboro area.
We're from all over.
I'll be glad when they finish 12th Street, because 11th Street now is a thoroughfare.
Well, everybody.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any
You read the
further?
paper every week, seems like everybody is
Yeah.
complaining about that, and the Living in Lynchburg Facebook page, yeah. There's plenty of conversation.
Everybody needs to vent.
Any
Everybody's
further
got
discussion?
problems. Are you done with me?
No,
Yes,
we're
I
getting
gotta-
ready to take a
we gotta
vote.
vote.
So no further discussion, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, I hear none opposed. Sounds like a green light.
Take us with you to the south.
See you in the
Merry
spring.
Christmas. Okay, anything else we need to cover? Eve?
Yeah, two things. I did send out the 2024 schedule. So if you should have received
Thank
that,
you.
please make
Thanks,
note.
Mark.
Have a good one.
Please make note of meeting dates and try your very hardest to be here for all of them. And then the second item is the Diamond Hill plaques. We had one, an application maybe last year for, actually Ross's house. They have these very uniform looks to them. They order them through the society. I've received another application and it's likely we're gonna receive more in the future. So just wanted to address that with the commission and see if that's something that you want me to send to the meetings or if you're comfortable with me approving that administratively.
I think, I can speak for myself. I think the plaque's okay. Do we want to know about placement, or is that uniform on everyone's? It's a setback?
It
or-
is varied. I think the only thing that's really in common with the placement is that they're all in the front yard, to make them visible to people passing by.
I guess the city didn't give them a setback, so you can read it from the sidewalk or something like that.
I don't think, do
It's
signs
usually-
like that have setbacks? No.
It's usually a house mounted, isn't it just like
Are we
like
talking,
this
yeah, are we
big
talking
kind
about
of
the ones
plaque?
on the
So I
house?
can-
or the-
I can
or the
show you.
signs?
It's in the yard, I think, like, kind of like what you're saying.
Let's see. So he did send me a couple of examples.
okay.
So like this one is on the fence, this one is in the front. These are on the ground, and then another one on the fence, one
So
behind the
basically,
fence.
the city is approving that placement as opposed to us? Is that a true statement?
No, I think when I send them to the commission, that's part of what you approve.
So she's asking, do you want her to do it or us?
I don't remember that ever coming before us.
It,
I remember
recall
mine, it was
one.
earlier this year.
Yeah.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah. Was it on the ground or was it more of a like standing
It
sign
was on a
though?
poster.
Yeah,
or
that's
Oh,
what I
right, are you
thought.
talking about Randolph?
What's the actual?
That was
Well,
a
that
little
was
different.
That was a street one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
A
post
little
out
bit,
on the
right,
sidewalk.
For the women's.
I mean, are there predetermined guidelines about the positioning? Because it seems like they're in one of three places, which seem all appropriate. Either on
Hold
the, corner of the lot or on the fence or,
It would seem even.
On a wall.
If they're in
So
one of
this
those three
one-
places,
yeah.
administratively would be appropriate.
yeah.
So this one's a little different. I mean, this one's on the ground next to the tree, but this is the one that was approved for 1,500 earlier. This is the same application that we were talking about. Yeah. So I don't think there's really I mean, there's kind of a pattern because there's
Yeah.
only so many places you can stick them in the front yard.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I would say administrative unless they want to put it somewhere off the wall, like,
Okay.
you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
it
if you
feels
see
weird to
something in
you,
there-
then we can talk about it, but.
okay.
Like dangling it over the sidewalk or something.
Yeah.
And you
Right.
don't,
Yeah.
So administrative.
Do you need us to make a motion to
No, I
pass that
think,
to you?
I think
or-
discussion is
Okay.
fine. Yeah, I just wanted to double check, because they are pretty uniform, but, yeah. Okay,
We trust you.
thanks.
Anything
Yeah,
else?
that's all I had. Mhm.
Okay,
Great.
with that, we will adjourn.